What's up? My name's Chris Weich, Box Break Racing. I'm in Florida. It's burning hot out here right now, but I have my 1995 240SX, and it's time for Machine Check version 2. We're gonna get into every single part I have on this car. It's gonna be a good one. Let's do it. A lot has changed.
This is Box Break Racing.
This is Box Break Racing.
Now, if you haven't seen version 1, I would suggest you go and watch that real quick so you can see kind of what the car looked like previously. I've changed a lot in this car, like I mentioned already, so we're gonna go over all the parts, but first we're gonna start with the exterior because that's what you notice the most. So before I get into the actual body kit on the car, the actual aero, let's talk about the paint. This thing did just get painted, I think about 2 weeks ago now, and it looks absolutely insane. Completely different from how it used to look before. If you're wondering, this color is called Lava Orange. This is a Porsche OEM color, and this is also two-tone. So I did two-tone, the body is Lava Orange, and the roof, I wanted to do black, but my painter had a special mix, so this is kind of like a silver. And the sun's not out right now, so you can't see it, but it's metallic. I did the roof as well as the trunk. If you guys do watch the channel, I used to have a black trunk with the car when it was white, and I wanted to keep the trunk a different color. I didn't want to body match the trunk with everything else because I thought this would stand out and keep the OG look somewhat, just a little bit. The paint's probably not popping as much because the sun just went away. It's behind a ginormous cloud right now. When it comes back out, obviously you guys will see how it really looks, and in the B-roll you'll see also how it looks. These fronts are actually Modelo Drive, which is kind of like an eBay brand, and the rears are Charge Speed. These actually came with the car when I bought it, so I didn't actually purchase these. The only thing I purchased was rear bumper, the side skirts, front bumper, and that's all Origin. It's Origin Lab Stylish Line Aero, and then also the front fenders, which is Modelo Drive. Moving on to the headlight situation, this is pretty cool. So you guys know the headlights on these cars tend to fade a ton. These are actually not that clean right now, damn, oh man. These are Circuit Sport clears, the lenses, so you heat these up, take the old lenses off and put the Circuit Sport clear lenses on. I believe this is also Circuit Sport, but corner lights and headlight lenses. And that makes the car look so much different, having fresh corner lights and lenses. It's pretty much a big game changer. That was a really nice modification. It's not on right now, but right here, I would have the LRB sunroof delete panel. This is color matched to the roof of the car. This used to just be, usually when you buy it, it's just aluminum, and you can see these holes because it's supposed to rivet in. Not a huge fan of that, but it's decent. Helps you get rid of the sunroof, which I'll talk about more when I get on the inside as to why I deleted that. But that's why there's nothing there. I had to take that off for paint. Single wiper mod, nothing crazy. It's not something I did because I wanted it. It's just to protect the decal over here from getting messed up with the other blade. And this is my new Box Break Racing decal. These are gonna be for sale soon on the site. Obviously not this big, this is an official team banner, but I will be making smaller ones. So if you guys think this is pretty cool, these will be on the site pretty soon. Moving on to the wheels. This is gonna be pretty interesting. So the wheel setup on this car, they are Graham lights. However, if you guys are in the scene of Graham lights and you like Graham lights, you know that Circuit Performance released a CS-F1, which is a Graham light replica. They are lighter, apparently they're just as strong. A lot of reputable drivers are using it, so I decided to buy some. These are CS-F1s, and those are Graham Light 57DRs, and they look exactly the same. The only difference is that these are semi-gloss, and these are gloss. So the fronts are 17 by 9 plus 12, and that's pretty much the decent size that works all the way around. The backs are 18 by 9.5 plus 12. The CSF1s are plus 25, and my Graham lights are plus 12. So with the CSF1s, I run a 1-inch spacer just to get flush fitment on the outside. And with the Graham lights, I forget, I think it's like a 1/4-inch spacer that I run to get flush fitment, because with the plus 12 against the plus 25, the Graham lights stick out just a little bit more. These are Kenda KR20 tires, and this is a 235/40/17 in the front. I believe the tread wear on these is 300. In the rear, I have 265/35/18s, and those are Kenda KR20s, 300 tread wear. So these things are freaking grippy. So yeah, that's the tire setup on the car. Went over wheels, aero, paint, decals, all the stuff on the outside. So now it's gonna get good, but not yet, not engine good, but we're gonna go to the interior, look at the inside of the car, and then we'll talk about engine. And then lastly, we'll talk about suspension and wrap up the video. The entire car is actually wired up from scratch, and I did this years and years ago. I wired up the entire thing from the bottom up, so it's got a custom fusing relay panel, it's got a custom switch panel. All the harness in the body is custom. The only part of the car that's not custom wiring is the engine harness, and that's a wiring specialties harness, but we'll get into that when we start talking about the engine. The actual fuse and relay panel is hidden underneath the passenger side of the dashboard. And my access point is where the airbag used to be. Obviously, there's nothing underneath this dash anymore. It's been cleared out. So I can pop this off and get access to that custom fuse and relay panel. And you can slightly kind of see it here, as well as all the other custom harnesses in the car, especially the ones that run to the back of the car down the side here. Aesthetics wise, we got stock door cards with the missing window switches. And these actually have custom ones in here right now. This is ghetto, but if you saw what I had to do before, you would not be laughing right now because it used to be pretty bad. We also have a bride gradation seat. This is a Zeta 3, and I got this from Used Racing Parts on Instagram, so I'll put their ad on the screen right now. They're pretty good, reputable. I would recommend them if you're buying a seat. This thing's really sick. It's a little tight, but it's perfect for me on the track. I have no complaints. The one thing I have to worry about is this is a roll cage. So it has a safety 21 roll cage. It's a bolt-in 6-point roll cage. The only thing with this is when I'm on track with my helmet hits the cage. And I've gotten used to driving now so I can keep my neck muscles pretty like flexed and I don't have to have my head hitting the cage constantly. But usually at a track day on the first lap out, second lap out, I give it a little whack each time. And then after that, I'm pretty good. Floor mats, P2M, Phase 2 Motor Trend floor mats. These are really nice. They make the car come together a lot better. I have some custom heat shielding right here. The exhaust gets very, very hot. I've had track days without this in and without this where my foot would be burning through the shoe. That's how hot it gets when you're running on the track. Stock S14 seat for passengers just so they're comfortable. I didn't want to do 2 bucket seats. That can be kind of irritating. Sometimes the bucket seat irritates me. Passengers love this. They get flung around a bit on the track when they're sitting in this, so I'm thinking about upgrading, but for now this will do. I have the back seat fully gutted out, and the reason I had this gutted out is because I used to run my harnesses to these eye bolts right here and do the X cross and run it through the bucket seat. Then I got a harness bar. The harness bar got removed because it doesn't fit with this roll cage. So now we just have the roll cage and a gutted back seat. I had to take out the rear quarters as well because I didn't want to cut a hole through them, and I don't think I would be able to cut a perfect hole. So those came out. This right here is just white duct tape to match the interior paint to stop smoke from piling in from the rear wheels. That used to be a huge problem. I used to have so much smoke in here that I couldn't breathe or see. So taping that up helped tremendously. A trusty fire extinguisher. This is a quick release right here. Just pull that and take it out. This is required for the track, which is why I have it installed. I don't have a center dash, so I just decided to do it right here on the trans tunnel. It works, not the fanciest thing, but practical. I love this wheel. This is a 330mm deep dish suede Keys racing wheel. And this is especially special because I got this from Jesse Streeter, which is one of the guys I looked up to a lot in the drifting scene. And so I imported this from Jesse Streeter, and that's why I love this so much. I use this on my sim, use it in real life. It feels great. 330 feels much nicer compared to 350, which is usually the standard for steering wheels in cars. I love this. This is one of my favorite parts about the car, hands down. A lot of people ask me why I sit so close to the steering wheel. I look a little crazy when I'm driving. I don't actually sit that close. I just have these huge spacers on the steering column because my feet, I'm pretty tall, I'm 6'1", and without those, I basically turn into my knees. So I need the spacers so I can push it out and not hit my legs when I'm steering. That's why it's set up like that. People obviously, they really do think I sit very close, and I don't. I sit pretty far. The wheel is just sticking out so far that it looks like I'm sitting very close. I'm gonna get into the technical stuff soon, but let's keep talking about the cosmetics. My boy Luke went to Japan and got me one of the freaking Dream Magic Sexy Style Platinum Shower Air Fresheners. These smell so good. This one's obviously ran out, but it's pretty cool having the butterfly on here. You can only get these in Japan. So this is really, really cool. Glow shift tack, that's not wired up because I just had so much trouble getting that to work with the tack pickup. I need to buy a Japanese tachometer so I can tap the ECU and just have no issues in the future. I just haven't done it yet. So that's over there, not being used, not wired up. These are 3 AEM gauges, and I have air fuel ratio, oil pressure, and water. So just my essentials. Down here is my one last AEM gauge for boost, and that's pretty nice. The thing I liked most about this is that I can check peak levels. So when I was dialing in my wastegate, I was able to check the peak levels and make sure I wasn't over boosting. And if I'm drifting on the track, I can always go back and check and make sure that the boost levels are where they're supposed to be at. This is the custom switch panel. This is main power, and these are all the other switches to turn on fuel, ECU, gauges, fans, all that good stuff. This is pretty neat. And this is just ABS plastic, custom made, that just fits it. and blocks this off. If you did notice this shifter looks a bit weird, it's not a stock SR box. Last time we did the machine check, I had a stock SR transmission, but now I have a Z32 transmission out of a 300ZX. And that's because I blew up the SR trans and upgraded to a big box, and that's this Z32. And this relocates the shifter. So this is a Mazworks adapter kit. The shifter is pushed back and to the left. It's a little bit of a learning curve, but it's not too bad. This is the block off plate, so you don't see all the extra stuff in there. And we'll get more into the whole setup with the trans and clutch when we start talking about the engine, but that's about it for the interior. Nothing crazy, just the basics. Shirts tucked in, mini Nobari. I think that's all of it. Let's open up this engine bay and move on to the good part. This is the most exciting part. Let's talk about the SR20 that's in this S14. A while ago, my hood prop was actually stolen. This does have the modification on it where you can put the hood all the way back and put it on the glass. I don't do that though, especially now that the car's painted. I just do this. So off the bat, you're probably looking at this and saying, this is a bit funky, and I'll show you why. So yeah, the engine bay is blue, the car is orange, and the underside of the hood is white. Yeah, this is one thing I didn't think about when I painted the car, but honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't look too bad. It looks kind of cool. Let's talk about the SR. So this is an S13 SR20 DET, and it is basically bone stock. It was rebuilt. I rebuilt it by myself in my garage about maybe 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. Then I started driving on it. It's got a T28 now, so it used to have the stock T25 turbo, which is OEM size turbo. It now has the T28 turbo, and that's from the S14 SR20 DET. So that one's a little bit bigger on the compressor side with the same size exhaust housing, and that has an HKS wastegate that I custom made a bracket for to fit it on there, and it's set to 11 PSI, which is pretty decent and safe for the T28. Really, I can run it to 15 PSI, but with 93 octane and nothing higher, I didn't want to push it that high. So 11 PSI is pretty good, and that works for me. PBM high mount intercooler, people always ask me, where's the intercooler on the car? Because it looks NA if you look from the front. It's actually mounted in front of the radiator, but behind the actual radiator supports. And this helps with response a little bit. Your temps might be a little bit higher, but I'm not too worried about it. So the piping literally just comes straight off the compressor housing of the turbo, just straight in across and then straight out, instead of going here and looping around and going downtown and all the extra stuff. So you do get like a tad bit more response, nothing crazy. ISR intake, pretty basic. Silk Road manifold. This is another really cool part about the car. So I imported that from Jesse Streeter as well. So the manifold and my steering wheel are both imported from Jesse Streeter. It's a brake shield. This is required for the track if your turbo is on the same side as the brake master cylinder. Nishimoto water tip sensor adapter, just some off-brand rad hoses, coil radiator. I got lightweight pulleys for the water pump and the power steering pump, and then a Super V belt that was upgraded recently when I changed the pump out. P2M, ignition coils, NGK spark plugs, basic stuff, stock injectors. We have a GK Tech eccentric throttle wheel, and this actually helps with response a ton, especially on the top end. I really recommend this, and I have a video about this, so I'll put that at the top of the screen if you want to watch that. Megan Racing motor mounts. This is just all the custom wiring going to the headlights and the fans and stuff. Barton Specialties Pro harness, which is a lifesaver, game changer. So many issues stem from your stock harness that's all crinkled up and tweaked out. So that's a pretty good upgrade if you ask me. This is a Chase Bay's coolant reservoir. I've had this for so long. This is one of the first things I bought for the car, and it was like 200 flat. Pretty simple, it works. I like their products a lot. Dual electric fans, and these are not ISR fans. It's an ISR shroud, but these are SPAL fans, which push a bit more air. I think they have a higher CFM than the ISR fans, and they work pretty well. I run water wetter, which is not coolant. It is water with an additive, and that helps you get better temps. So my temps sit around 185. Also, if you're wondering where the battery is, it's in the trunk. It's very dirty. All the rubber from drifting gets piled up back here in the trunk, so that's why it's pretty messy right now. But Optima red top battery, and I've had this battery since 2019. Trailer gear battery box just to hold it in place in the trunk. And this is opposite of the driver just for better weight distribution. Not that it matters a huge amount, but that's the proper way to set it up. This is like just a little reservoir tank right here that goes to the diff for the vent for the diff, or fluid overflow, which I noticed I had some fluid overflow from the diff, so that's why I started running it up into here, into that bottle there, just to catch it. That way it's not falling on suspension parts and making me think that I have a leak from something else. I didn't forget about the exhaust. Besides the Silk Road manifold, which is the main part of any exhaust that makes it sound good, I have a custom downpipe, but that's PBM. So PBM made a custom turbo elbow and downpipe together with a flex pipe. and that goes to an HKS racing exhaust system. Now, there's something really unique about this exhaust system that I didn't know when I bought it, and apparently this is not common. This HKS exhaust is 3.5 inches from factory. The muffler's not on right now. It has the track exhaust setup, which is the same HKS exhaust system all the way to the axle, and then it's just a custom, pretty much dump pipe, and I'll show you right now. So that's the custom dump pipe. Absolutely insane SR sounds on the track. And if you want to see this thing drifting, I'll put a link in the description so you guys can go watch that. But with this dump pipe, it's a straight piped SR with a 3.5 inch exhaust, and it sounds freaking nasty, man. I want to get back into the transmission setup. So it's a Z32 trans. I have a Nismo Super Copper Mix clutch, which is like God spec clutch. Everyone in Japan runs it. I sound like a fanboy right now, but that clutch is really nice. It feels very good. It has good grip, and the packaging on it was just insane. I loved everything about that clutch, and my install videos on the channel, if you want to go find it. I might make a playlist for all the recommendations I made in this video, so you guys can just watch all of it or click on the ones you want to see. Z32 trans, Nismo Super Copper Mix clutch, one-piece drive shaft going to the back, welded diff. I guess we're getting into suspension now, so let's talk about it. Car's on a B-knuckle. The B-knuckle, the main point of the B-knuckle is to make the car very aggressive. So it quickens the steering. Basically, if you were to turn like this in a regular car, the wheel might go like this much, but with the B-knuckle, if you do that, it turns much more. So it's just faster steering response, very aggressive. It's good for aggressive driving. Suspension, BC Racing. For the suspension, I just have regular 6K rear, 8K front springs, but I do want to go 9K front, 5K rear just to get the rear a bit softer. With this car, you might have noticed that it looks like there's such a giant gap in the front. And that's not just because they're on 17-inch wheels. That has to do with weight jacking. So I'm trying to get all the weight to push to the back of the car. That way when I'm in drift, the weight stays at the rear of the car and it takes it off of the front. That's why you go with the softer spring in the back, harder in the front. The dampening is set up the same way. The dampening in the front is pretty high up, and then it's pretty low in the back. It's all just set up to help with weight transfer. That was Casper that just closed that door. To complement the B-knuckle, there's also OEM outer tie rod ends, extended super adjustable inners from GK Tech, and then GK Tech bolt-on rack spacers, which also adds angle to the car. So all the angle comes from the cut knuckle and the GK Tech bolt-on rack spacers. In the front, I do have a plus 50mm wheel spacer. I didn't explain that when I was talking about the wheels because that's not a fitment thing, that's a setup thing and a driving thing to do with how the car reacts. When you increase the scrub radius and you increase the width of the front, they start to rotate. The back, the spacers don't matter for setup and how it feels. That's just a look thing to get it to sit flush. But like I was saying, one-piece drive shaft to the rear on a welded diff, stock axles, and then all the arms, the suspension arms, they're all adjustable. So I have PBM rear toe arms, ISR Pro rear uppers, ISR Pro traction. In the back too, I have some more secret sauce, and that's the PMU brake pads. So that makes the handbrake work a lot better. And I mean a lot better. The PMU brake pads make the biggest difference in the world. Stock brake pads, I feel like they just don't lock up the rear, especially with the welded diff, because you're not just stopping one side, you have to stop both. So having the PMU pads makes that stock handbrake work so much better. And I will always prefer a stock handbrake over a hydro. I'm just old school like that, and I really enjoy the stock feel of the handbrake. You can see I have a lot of camber wear. I got about -3 camber in the front. And then also I have the wheel pushed back, so I have caster removed, and that's also to help just with setup and aggressive driving. In the back, 0 toe, 0 camber. That's pretty much it for rear alignment. Yeah, there's not too much to the car. Like I said, guys, this is such a basic grassroots car, but a lot has changed since the last time. Last time we did the machine check, I didn't have the B-knuckle, I didn't have paint, I didn't have the Z32 transmission, I didn't have the T28, I didn't have the gram lights. Oh my God, I didn't have the gram lights. Wow, now that I think about it, a lot has changed on this car since the last machine check. But it's still a very basic car, and it's still just meant for seat time, and that's the whole reason I built it. That's the whole purpose of the car. If you guys still have questions about the car, anything with the setups, cost, pricing, any questions really, just let me know in the comments. Hopefully this gave you an insight to what's on this car and what it takes to build a grassroots car. Really all you need is a bucket seat and a welded diff. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You do not need all the stuff that I have to have a drift car. Just pay attention now. This is gonna be basically all the parts on the car. that's Machine Check version 2. I know it took a while for this to get out, but it's finally out now. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and thanks for watching. Bye.